Right now, we're going to be joined by Jay Fox from the Ohio News Network. We are talking about a number of funding cuts as well, and you just had a sit-down with the president of MIT.
Indeed. I spoke with Dr. Sally Kornbluth about what's happening. Over the course of 2025 and into this year, the federal government has cut or frozen as much as $3.7 billion in active, previously approved research grants. Public institutions have borne the brunt of it, with $2.1 billion of those cuts coming from university research. The subject matter is very specific: climate change, public health advocacy, infectious disease, vaccine hesitancy, and anything related to diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Okay, and now I asked you this earlier, but how does this tie back to Ohio for our listeners, and why is this a concern?
So Ohio State University is the #1 R1 research university for the entire state of Ohio. And university leaders through the American Association of American Universities, I should say, including Ravi Belakonda, who is our president at OSU, have warned that these moves are heavily damaging the scientific pipeline. There have been lab closures, there have been layoffs, fewer researchers, and a new study of 1,600 U.S. scientists conducted by the scientific journal called Nature revealed that 75% of PhD students and almost 80% of postgraduate students surveyed were considering leaving the country to pursue research opportunities in Canada and Europe. Now, that pipeline, Bryn, refers to the students who will ultimately become the scientific researchers that address the subjects that we discussed, like disease and things like technical innovations.
And when you spoke with the president of MIT, Dr. Kornbluth, Sally Kornbluth, about this, you know, when she talked about this, she had some pretty grave concerns over these losses.
She did. And what she said specifically, and you'll hear it in this clip, is that it doesn't just impact the Ivy League schools. It impacts schools specifically like Ohio State.
We're not going to see the risk tomorrow or next week or maybe even next year. What's at risk are the kind of cures and technological advances that we'll enjoy as we age, as our children get older, as their children's children get older. So it's really the future that's being mortgaged at this point. Basically, the pipeline now will create the cures, devices, advances of the future. And it's difficult to see that right now, but believe me, we will see it down the road if that pipeline runs dry. Ultimately, places like MIT are going to do less science. That will lead to fewer cures, et cetera. And, you know, that's not just MIT. That's our peers, places like the Ohio State. You know, the new president there, Ravi Belakonda, a wonderful bioengineer. He gets this. It's going to be schools all over the country that are going to feel this, a decrease in science leading to a drying of the pipeline.
A drying of the pipeline, as she described it.
Right.
And Ohio State is already facing losses of $50 million or more a year, which means certain research stops, programs are discontinued. And those canceled projects include things like tracking vaccine hesitancy in rural Ohio communities, long-term effects of COVID-19, minority women's mental health, and youth suicide among LGBT youth. And also, the cool thing about Ohio State is that they've been able somehow to avoid the massive faculty layoffs that have plagued the Ivy League schools through private industrial-sponsored partnerships and diversified grants.
Go ahead.
So this is not a bipartisan issue, though.
No, well, it is. It is a partisan issue. It's a serious divide between Democrats and Republicans. Republicans want to demand ideological compliance with the administration. The Democrats warn that defunding these grants harms local economies and stops life-saving discoveries.
All right, Jay Fox from the Ohio News Network, thanks so much for coming in. Certainly something to continue watching.